rather than just
yes,
sit
please,
and complain.
and feel free to ask questions. Don't bother. Ask questions, even if on aspects I've mentioned. So I know that was intimidating, but please feel free to ask questions.
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to open the floor for you finalists to engage Dr. Richard Munang. If you have any question at all, we'll ask you to unmute yourself. Okay, so we have someone here who has a question. So, Adeyemi, kindly unmute your mic.
Thank you very much, sir. I learned so much, and I gained a lot of insights about the challenges facing Africa. Outside Africa, maybe for like a year or two, and I've seen how things actually work in Europe, and I actually see the systems in place that can actually, really like, improve a normal, hardworking young person's life, and can actually, transform the person's, business ideas into reality. Is it possible that we can actually are still the same when it's still the same thing we talk about? It's nothing. The leadership is still the same, high poverty. So I've actually gotten to a point where I actually think.
Can we see your face? Can we see your face? I want to.
Yes,
it looks like when you are speaking, you disappear.
No. I put my mouth close to the speaker of the laptop. So yeah, so I'm just asking that: is anything really going to change, or are we just going to do some little things and we won't make any kind of significant change? So that's my question.
Now, can I quickly answer to that one, Temi, if you allow me, before the ideas run away? Because I think what Olivier, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can, sir.
What a lot of young people across the country. Africa is a unique continent, and I am not really a fan of comparing Africa to other places because Asia is unique. I've always said is the Africa of today is not the Africa of the 60s. A lot of change. I mean, if you compare the Africa of the 60s, 70s, 80s, even of the early 2000s, there have been a lot of improvement. What has actually been the misnomer for Africa's transformational development is us Africans. All of us are guilty regardless of where we are, whether we are young or old. Because why? Two things. First, we do not project Africa in a positive light. We benchmark Africa with indicators that somehow are irrelevant sometimes because of our context. Let me give you an example. How many of us talk about our local cooperatives that our mothers, when we were growing up, used to come together, contribute little money, buy our books, and that culture of social inclusivity, that social capital that is actually value, we ignore it and then want to benchmark with something that doesn't work within our context. We do not then leverage that to try to know it works. And that's why in my talk, I made it very clear. We are part of the problem. And unless we change our mindset to understand that, yes, Africa have challenges, but those challenges are disguised opportunities. And we must leverage on what works within our context to move forward. So don't get me wrong. Excellent question. The second aspect is that we cannot be able to keep saying that things have not improved in Africa. That is apathy. And that dissuades and drains energy. What we need to do always is that, yes, we have challenges. Yes, but we must work with what we have as we make progress. Those challenges should inspire us and humble us at the same time, but inspire us from the perspective that those are business opportunities. But what we do is that we wait for others to come and do it. And I can tell you as we speak today, the opportunities in Africa are not being seized by Africans. Why? Because we've been conditioned to think that we cannot do it unless we are supported, rather by saying, yes, we'll confront adversity. Yes, it's a disguised opportunity. So in answering your question, which I've done already, is that we are the ones to take charge and change our content, and young people to do it. You must not be in government to do so. You people are here presenting ideas. Those ideas that were not given to you by government or someone, that means you can be part of the solution and you can drive it. And it is this collective effort that will continuously get turbocharged to become the norm and not the exception that will make Africa's transformational development become reality. That will not mean that we cannot ask questions. That will mean that when we ask a question next time, we'll say, yes, we know there are challenges. This is what we have been doing, but we have a gap. Please, if you have an idea for us to close that gap, bring it. That way we'll be moving with force, and when we get the critical mass, because we don't have a critical mass yet, that's why when I started to give the presentation, I said, look, I am saying something that I've said so many times, but sometimes when I speak to my own African brothers and sisters, they look at it and say, where did this guy talk now? One money. Look, it's an attitude that I will continuously debug, but please, thanks for your question. Yes, another question. Feel free, guys, ask as many questions as you can, because you might not have an opportunity to connect with me again on a virtual space like this. Abdurrahman.
Okay, so we have Abdurrahman. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Richard. I'm really grateful for the opportunity of listening to you this afternoon. I'm really impressed with your presentation. Thank you so much. It's been a while. I've been longing to meet someone like you, hearing someone like you giving us an insight. The thing is that the society is not giving us what exactly. For instance, from the issue of social development core and service to the humanity, most of our people doesn't think of what to give to the society. All what we take care, all what we think about is what the society have for us, and that is so far. No one ever care about what others is going through. No one ever cares about what the society is taking. We all believe to deem it fit of addressing. There was a long time ago, I think of a project target save them right from in. Who are we saving? What are the targets that we can save? Youths that are coming up, especially the upcoming ones, from the level they are. Because I discovered that most of the blessed, talented children of Nigeria of today are on the streets. Who is there to save them? No one. The government doesn't care about them. The less privileged ones are left to be taken care of. Are we to blame this state of power? Power corrupts, absolutely power corrupts. No one seems to care about others. How do you think bringing meaningful things to our state of living? Fine and cute. On municipal waste that is flying around, we have a lot of potential wasting, flooding around the society. The government doesn't think and care about any one of us. We keep on our society to the better state of living. But most of us are financially handicapped. There is nothing we can do to this. Long time ago, I tried to come up with a society that we are all financially handicapped. We couldn't last long. The team fall apart. Because in this Nigeria of today, there is nothing you can do without money. We are all striving. It is my curious ability that leads me to join the team on our ITA campus, which is called Youth in Sustainable Waste Eco Recycling. But here we are today. I started with a volunteer habit, nothing to be paid. I have my own family. I strive to make sure I support my family. All these are the virus eating us. Most of us are willing to do more. Most of us are willing to give more to the society, especially the youth. But the other one, the lions on, yeah.
So can I answer some of the aspects? You are very eloquent, and I must applaud you. I think your future is bright, Abdurrahman. I mean, you have a strength, and your articulations and eloquence is a plus. So your future is bright. You've asked very important questions, and they are relevant and they are valid. But let me start by saying, please never ever feel powerless. That's where it begins. Never ever feel powerless. The challenges, we are going to face them, but what you're already doing, first of all, you have the logic and already working with young people and people to turn waste into opportunity. That's already a strength. And the fact that you've also tried at cooperatives, that's already a strength. You asked a very important question. And you started off by saying something that I think is very, very important. We have been conditioned, and I like that, to always think what society has for us, not what we have for society. And the question, and that is very, very important, because it then brings to the fore, who is society? It's us. But then when we then segment society to think that others have to do it for us, then that's where the issue, and that's why we've been conditioned over 60 years. Because you see, what we're discussing today is not of our making. When our founding fathers fought for self-determined rule, they gave their best. But they made a mistake and a blunder, and I wrote this in my book, which you can download, Making Africa Work Through the Power of Innovative Volunteerism. It's free. You can go to my website and download it. Is that they missed to build a citizenry who were supposed to be the custodians of the very development in which they cherished so much and looked forward. And then that is where this issue started. But I've got news today, which is the state of power. You ask, who is there to serve us? We are here to serve us. That's the answer. We will serve ourselves. Spirit, including my answer, when I'm talking young people, not just you people, every one of us have to take the responsibility. And the best way to do that is to use the little you have, your time, your ability to start doing the little. And the problems are going to get worse. First of all, we are in the midst of health emergency or environmental emergency, like droughts, like floods. We're going to see worse of this. So if you think we are seeing anything, yet we haven't. So what am I trying to prepare young people to think? We have challenges. You have what it takes, not necessarily, but use what you have to get what you don't have. If, for example, you mentioned plastics, if you are already turning plastic into pavement tiles already today, that's already an opportunity for you to start generating data. Okay, this amount it takes to cause this. And when you do this, it's cheaper than blocks. You can use that case to make policymakers understand. Of course, they're not going to listen to you, but the continuous persistence and a group and a critical mass around a solution to say these are the incentives we need. We need tax breaks. We need taxes to be removed from the materials that are used to make that. People will listen to you. Is it going to be an issue of a day? No. Processes and change takes time. But when you have data and offer a product, people will listen to you. And this is what has not, and you cannot do it alone. The aspect of the cooperative, you are not supposed to create a cooperative yourself. Join the existing ones and be part of it and contribute a bit to it and take a loan from it and build yourself as you move ahead. So we do not necessarily need to be reinventing the wheel here. We need to build on what works, and please work with willing and selfless people. I don't know whether there is any other question from you again so that I can conclude. And remember, please, we are not going to change Africa today, but we can start with what we have. Even Europe have problems today. In America, they have problems. People are on the streets begging food. But you hardly see them projecting that to the world. What I'm trying to say is that Africa's challenges are not unique per se. Actually, we have the most opportunity. But what has been missing in our continent, from my own experience, is that we are our biggest problem. Why? We do not communicate solutions. We do not project positivity. We project negativity because that's how we are conditioned to do it. And that's wrong. That's wrong. Yes, let's admit we have challenges. Yes, there are poverty levels that are high. Why are they high? Because we've never focused on, let's take the food crisis today. Africa imports wheat every year worth $50 billion US. What happened to cassava, which is a climate resilient crop that 500 Africans depend on? Where has it been discussed? Where are the youth at the forefront that look, we need to use our cassava to replace wheat? And cassava can produce 300 products. I have not seen that debate. I've tried to drive that debate. The young people will abandon you even when you are driving the debate. So what I'm saying is we are our own problem. And unless we rise up and somebody speaks truth to power, and that power is not government, it's us. Because we the people need to prefer solutions and say this is what needs to move forward. I've not seen young people holding a meeting and say, look, cassava must become our own goal in the continent. No. They are projecting narratives that have been given to them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Munang.
Thank you.
Marco also raised his hand. Marco, please.
Please come closer to the microphone.
Hello, Marco.
Hello.
Ask your question.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to ask a question, but mine is more just comment. I think as young people, we have focused much on blaming the government, blaming the leadership, and not coming clear to what we want to achieve in all aspects of our life. I think we have some solutions that were there in those 1980s, and now so we are still moving in the circles, and our mindset is not all that progressive, because very quickly. And just to give you an example of what I've been doing, when I started organic fertilizer making in 2018, I had even 2 customers just come and they were not believing that market skyrocketed. It's now you see that demand coming, overwhelming, to the extent that I'm not meeting that demand. And what kills most of us is to rely on something that can be easily done. I think where something can be easily done, then that's not a thing that can make progress. So it's really important, and Dr. Richard for inspiring me on the issues that are very critical and support our solutions. Solutions that are really sustainable, because most of the advocates, they are on issues of human rights, and then we forget that yes, you can have this political freedom, but economic freedom is very fundamental as well. And being economic being fundamental, I think we need to drive policies that create good environment for business to mushroom, as well as business to grow. And the SMEs, they have been positioned themselves as just income generating activities, and not something that can be a springboard for them to grow in the private sector. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Marco. First of all, which country are you from? So that, because that will help me also.
From Malawi.
Yes, good, excellent. Malawi. Yeah. Thank you very much for those points. I mean, you've complimented what I was saying, and I highly appreciate. The reality is, before I answer your question, is that, you see, I grew up in this country. I'm Cameroonian, and a very proud African for that matter. I went to school in this continent, and I only love to go do my master and my PhD in England. I have been on global stage, and I know what I'm talking here. We've been told lies most of the time, and especially the young people seems to grab those lies and run with it faster than even our founding fathers. Why do I say like this? I have never understood in my entire life till today why a narrative, when you want to correct it, it's never palatable than the false narrative. That, look, it's not easy. If you are given grants, that's good for you to get your work forward, but nothing is given for free. There are conditions for everything. That at least that if you look and create a market within the population, within your community, that's sustainable. Nobody listens. That opportunities are not given, they assist. Nobody listens. That's the truth. That's what I've learned in my entire life. Nobody gives you anything for free. We're not here giving knowledge for free. This is not how the world works. Names are made through devising solutions, and I think one has done that enough times that I don't necessarily need. This is not bragging. This is not. I'm just trying to be very frank with my brothers and sisters, because I didn't. Somebody will come here, try to sound nice so that you guys can give a round of applause. No, I'd rather leave here and you guys don't even clap for me. I'll be the happiest, because I think I've passed the point. So what am I trying to say, Marco? You said something very, very important. The aspect that we complain too much and we forget ourselves, and we somehow and we don't know that if you are not part of the process and you only want to be part of the product, you lose it. We could not only want to be part of, when I'm not talking to you guys directly, alone, but it's effort. We want to be part of the product, and that's where we miss it. And that's where we wait and see, oh, government is not in the government. Who is government? Where do the people in government come from? And they part of us from the very society. When they're appointed, what do? We clap. Do we ever, in the middle of the appointment, ask what has been done and hold those people account and responsible? No, we clap because they come from our tribe. When we trivialize transformational thinking and development, what do we expect? So we get what we deserve. That said, we need passion, we need patience and persistence. The 3 Ps are very, very important. If you're not passionate and if you are not patient with what you are doing and if you are not persistent, you lose out. We get easily distracted when little coins are thrown left and right, and then we forget what we were doing in the community and we run. And then when it finishes, we want to come back. Time doesn't wait for anybody. And so the economic freedom you've mentioned is really what one has been fighting for. The changing climate and environmental challenges present opportunity. And the only thing that will make somebody to listen to you is when you can bring and drive socioeconomic opportunities. So they put more money in more pockets and food on the table. That mother in the village will not listen to you if you are not helping her to dry her crop that she's losing by providing an alternative, a solar dryer to do so. She'll listen, oh, this young man brought this and it's helping me to reduce post-harvest losses. It's helping me to dry my vegetables. Oh, this young person brought this briquettes and now I'm spending less on briquettes as compared to charcoal. They don't care what climate change is. They don't care what environmental challenges are. They care about solutions to their problems. And then from the data with that, you can approach your government. Like, for example, Malawi have already ratified the Paris Climate Change Agreement. They revised their national income contribution. In each of these, across all African countries, which I've read, there is transformational agriculture, sustainable agriculture, clean energy. Those are already policy enabling environments, which it is up to young people to read and start to do things that align with that. And then use the data to tell government, look, we try to do biogas. The material is so expensive. We need tax incentives so that we can be exempted from VAT. Look, government is not a repository of ideas. We talk government as if it is a repository of ideas and innovations. No, only in Africa is that false narrative projected. Nobody has stood up and said, look, the ideas are out there with young people. It's the young people to say, look, it's not about blaming government and abusing them that will make things change. It's about bringing the solutions, and you are not going to get the answers today. You keep saying, look, we've done this, and get your MPs, but we'll go and vote them because they relate to our tribe, and then we expect change to happen. Look, guys, as I said, I'm not here for applause, but I want to speak the truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
We are going to take very quickly now. I can see that she's indicating. Please unmute your mic.
Okay, good afternoon, Doc Richard. It's quite an eye-opening conversation we are having, and most of the questions that I had have been answered. Thank you so much for an eye-opening conversation. I'm 31 years old and based in Zimbabwe, Harare. I run a solar energy and electrical services company. To be quite frank, Doc, some of the people that I went to school with, that I did electrical and solar energy with, are not doing businesses, or they're actually not employed in companies, still practicing their same skills. Most of them are in town. We've got a place in Harare where there are money changers. I'm sure you guys are aware of our currency situation and inflation and so on and so forth. A lot of people that I want to is we've got what we call mabero in Zimbabwe, which is bells. I'm not sure if you guys have those in your countries where we sell second-hand clothes from Europe. Seems to be selling. At some point, I was tempted to go for what's actually giving me short-term money, because when we open our businesses, when I opened my company, I'd lost my job. I was on contract. My contract was not renewed due to COVID, and so I had to open a company. But it's not everyone who's been brave enough. I was working, and so could take care of financial expenses at home. So, but for most people, both men and women, it's not been so easy. So many people have had to ideas that most of my friends have had to die. So I'm not sure how we balance the Doc, because myself at some point when COVID sort of like subsided, business idea I'm having, does it really work? because you have clients maybe once in 3 months, because I mainly do installations. At the moment, I'm not able to do retailing of solar products because I don't have enough capital with local suppliers. And I had to go for a long time. You have an installation for the rural communities, which is a program, a rural electrification program that I'm actually running right now with my company. But some of the work that needs to be done needs me to go on the ground. Where is the capital? Where is the money? I mean, I'm in the capital city, but some of the work that needs to be done, I need to actually be on the ground. So that's like the part that's really frustrating. Doc. We really want to push. We really want to build Africa. We really have solutions for people, but that's need. When I started the company, I'd been working from when I was 19. So I started the company when I was in 2020, when I was like 29 going to 30. So I'd been working continuously. You can imagine I had a salary every month. And so to start a company and go through long periods of time without money, it was very frustrating, even for myself. And I would be very open with you, my brothers and sisters in this space. I think everyone can relate with what I'm talking about. So I'm not sure how to deal with that. I hope it was clear enough, Doc.
No, thank you very much. It's Stacy, right?
It's Beryl from Statics Electrical.
All right. But your name is, you said it's, your
Beryl.
name is Burial. Okay,
Beryl.
Burial.
Yeah.
Okay, Burial. Burial. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, all of you are very eloquent. All of you have spoken. No, thank you very much. It's Stacy, right?
It's Beryl from Statics Electrical.
All right. But your name is, you said it's, your
Beryl.
name is Burial. Okay,
Beryl.
Burial.
Yeah.
Okay, Burial. Burial. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, all of you are very eloquent. All of you who have spoken are very eloquent. I mean, I think, and that is, let me start from that perspective. There is power, the power to communicate is something that we ignore in the continent, because you, within few minutes, you are able to pass your point. All of you who have spoken today, I mean, you are very eloquent. Don't take that like, I know what it means. So that's a compliment that I'm giving to all of you. What you have narrated is the real life situation of any African, to the best of my knowledge. Forget the minority. I'm talking the bulk. I grew up in a small village in the northwestern part of Cameroon, from a very poor family, struggle like many of us do. But what sustained the journey was never the immediate, was the future. And the understanding was that short-term pain for long-term gain. And that is still what we endure today. Even what we do today, sometimes we take risk. Very a long time. So you will know, sometimes we take risk to even do what we do where we are. And life is about risk. So to what you've said, first of all, congratulations for the bravery. And that's what we need. Every African should be brave enough, doing what is not for the immediate, but is for the future. And in the course of doing that, know that you are going to fail, know that you are going to struggle, know that you will not have access to finance, know that they abandon you when they notice. Some of us have passed through this. Oh, you know the art broke, everybody runs away from you. You will go through that. Your friends will abandon you, your family will abandon you, but never ever lose focus on the main goal, because that's what is important. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because they don't get what they wanted to do. It's not their foundation. I'm very proud of what they do. They're bringing you guys together, bringing people to come and talk to you. It's an opportunity that some of us never ever had. And I wish if I had this opportunity when I was your age, I'll be a trillionaire today. But because I now know it, this is an opportunity to give back to the continent. So the best way to survive adversity, and especially what COVID taught us, was one word: diversification. In as much as you are dealing with you're an electrical engineer, you deal with solar energy, time to diversify your skill and also learn. I work today, but and look at things that do not need high capital, high intensive capital. For example, learn a skill in you do not even need up to $10 or $5 to do so. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you're going to leave your business, but in case things don't move the way, you can use that, because every family needs charcoal, but If you bring an alternative that is cheaper, you are going to make little money. Diversification, as I say, is the biggest security of a system. And that's what we are not even taught. We are taught that we need to fly to Europe always. It's a good thing if you are going there to study. But we are taught that if you go to Europe, life will be better. So this attitude that we can be able to find an idea that can fit our community so that we can make little money as things get better and save, move forward. It's what I really hope that if you people pick this. So this is what I could advise. It's not going to be easy, but just diversify. Learn other things, even learn how to turn waste into apparel, right? Into dresses, and start to even think it's not your field. I did my first degree in physics. I later on went to environmental science, but today, am I talking physics? I'm not talking physics. I learned how to speak. I was not born to be speaking the way I do today. So it takes time. It takes time to build a product. It takes time to get things right. So you fail, but always see failure as a stepping stone to success. Because today, the experience you gave here, for somebody who have never started, will never really know what it takes to lose a job, to start a business and not have money. Because you already do it, you become less risky for me. If I had money to invest, I would invest in you rather than somebody from Harvard who is showing me a business plan on paper that has never tested it on the ground. That's the kind of narrative we need today. And lastly, let's also support one another. And for those of you who are here today, please support your brothers and sisters in whatever thing you are doing, right? Those with good attitude. And support doesn't create time, get to communities, talk to young girls and young boys. I mean, try to prepare them. This is what I do. And I don't do this for any applause or for any pay. I just give back. Imagine if all of you live here today, 17 of you, engage one person, times two again, times 2 again, times 20. We will start to move this narrative forward. So I hope I have thrown some light into what can help you. But please, as you live here today, get online, follow me on YouTube if you want, and on Twitter. But at the same time, look how to make briquettes. Very simple. You can actually use drums and look at how briquettes are made and start to do it yourself. We have manuals on these. You do not need money for that. But I can tell you, you will be preparing yourself to tap into a 20 billion. Can I show you this? In the next 5 years, that market will be saturated not by Africans, by others. And that's how we keep losing it. Because we will focus to talk about what is happening in Europe and the United States, not what can help us transition within our own space here today. So I always tell my friend, Mr. Desina, who is here, Ade Tun, that we better do what we can do, even if we get fired by doing. Welcome. Yes, Temi, I know I've been taking over your moderating role, right?
Yes, thank you very much. You're doing a great job, sir.
Thank you. Yes, any other question? I think maybe 2 and then we end, right? Because I have to run in the next 10 minutes. Actually, I am enjoying this more than you guys, but I always get excited talking to young people. I mean, that's where my passion is. Yes, please proceed. Musa, I can see Musa, Ibrahim, and then Numfora. Yeah. Yes, Numfora, ladies before gentlemen.
I'm called Dr. Numfo Solange. I'm also from Cameroon. I was born and raised in Limbe.
Oh, really? How you doing now? Welcome. Glad for connect.
yeah, thank you so much, sir. Well, thank you very much for your presentation and all. Thank you so much, sir. My question is, for example, in the environmental sector, specifically Cameroon, to recycle, you need like a recycling permit. So even if you have an idea or something you want to do, or to make the eco bricks you talked about, you could do it on a smaller scale, like somehow like at the back of your house. But if you want to go big, you need that permit. And usually it is very costly and the procedure is very, very lengthy. So as someone who doesn't really have the resources or the means, the connections, how do you crack that scale? The government needs to see that you're working in line with the regulations. But if you are not, and if you even want to present yourself, they'll say they don't even know you. Who are you? It means you've been working illegally. So how do we crack this nut from the very, very outset without having the resources at our disposal?
Thank you very much, Doc, for that question. I mean, I just came back from Cameroon yesterday. I was there a whole week. If you follow me on my social media, you would have seen. And I had a discussion with young people around this. And there are young people who are actually dealing with turning waste to biogas in Yaoundé there. And there are some in the north who they all came together. This issue came up, as you've mentioned. And what I say is this, this is my philosophy and my strong belief. You do not fight existing realities. What you do is you develop models that make country. I'm not trying to say, because it's a little different from English countries where things work, but the problems are pretty much the same. Before you go, you bring impact to scale. I mean, you need to deal with the current. The reality is that you need to pay a permit. You need to have a permit. But when you are operating at a very small granular scale, you do not necessarily need a permit. You need to register your enterprise, which is a very normal. It's the same in Kenya, it's the same in Nigeria, it's the same everywhere. You have to register it. And then maybe work with a group of young people. What I went to Cameroon was we had this discussion with the Ministry of Environment as well, is as they implement their climate action, the data that will be coming out of it, they will see what works and they will actually see what is a bottleneck in the process. And from there, a case can be made to then provide incentives. Well, the argument is, if you have a population of Cameroon, which is 75% youthful, they are the ones that will drive their development. There is no magic. It's an enabling environment for them to then have the space to do what they can do and do so through the lens of helping the country address its environmental challenges. Because I was speaking in Cameroon 1 month ago, actually the Cameroon lifted value-added taxes on any importation. That's what I'm trying to say. So the best way is that we start to do what we can do and use the data to engage with policymakers, and we are creating the space to invest. But we will need support from the little that is happening, like young people in Buya, working with them in Bamenda, in Yaoundé, in Gandre, in Adamawa, and they're doing this at small scale, but then we use that data and make the case, look, they cannot move forward. You are going to default on implementing your climate action. But if you are able to incentivize by just removing the taxes and removing the permit, so that at least everybody, but businesses need to be registered for security reasons so that we know who is dealing with who doing the little, so that we use the data there to make the case. And we've created that system within the Ministry of Environment while we were there. I was there last week, and it took me 5 years to do that. So it takes time and dedication and persistence. It's going to be painful. They will not answer emails on that. So you just keep going. And I've learned one thing in life is that when you give up, then that's when you fail. But when you are persistent and passionate and continuously bringing something new, because the truth is that even those who don't make things to work also want to succeed. But sometimes they need to be engaged, and they don't believe. That's why in my talk I said, people do not only believe in big ideas, they like to see success. Or to see, like there is a group of young people who are doing biogas in Yaoundé, in Kolbede Soir, where I went to visit, and there was someone from the Ministry of Environment saying, oh, wow, so this can happen. So you see, they get excited with what they see that works, not just big ideas sometimes. So that's why I keep saying, let the young people try to do something. Once they start to do it, we use the data, we can use our sphere of influence to push. But when it is just talking, sometimes I get tired. I don't know whether I answered your question, though.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay.
And the last one, Ibrahim.
Hello. Thank you very much, Dr. Richard Munang.
Big ideas. They like to see success. Or to see, like there is a group of young people who are doing biogas in Yaoundé, in Kolbede Soir, where I went to visit, and there was someone from the Ministry of Environment saying, oh, wow, so this can happen. So you see, they get excited with what they see that works, not just big ideas sometimes. So that's why I keep saying, let the young people try to do something. Once they start to do it, we use the data, we can use our sphere of influence to push. But when it is just talking, sometimes I get tired. I don't know whether I answered your question, though.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay.
And the last one, Ibrahim Musa.
And again, you said something earlier which really captivated me. You said we like listening to narratives that were brought to us. And that is actually true. We need to look at things from our own perspective, things that actually happening to us, not things that were just documented for us to follow. I think that is also important. For instance, let's say in the northern part of Nigeria, anytime they are talking about desertification or water stress, they say women normally go miles to go and fetch water and all that. But when you go to this location, the scenario is different. You may not be necessarily women going far to fetch water, but there's another way of vulnerability and exposure to such kind of disasters or climate shocks. So I think it's high time again we read. Because I was at UNCCD conference of Party 15, and we're in a dinner with Musunda, and she was trying to. But the gap is that many young people do not read. When you don't read and expand your knowledge, your vocabulary, your experience about how things are happening, you may actually not be at the right track. Good. So thank you very much. Sir.
Thanks. Like a vote of thanks sort of message, and I think I must appreciate you said something that I think is very important. Yeah, everybody has to play his or her part, regard if you're a journalist, if you're a teacher. I mean, we cannot all be on the ground at the same time, but people should also be able to pick what others are doing on the ground to communicate it. That's what I try to do. I try to promote young people, what they're doing, because I cannot all be on the ground. And I think if we can collectively do that, of course, our solutions will be seen. And all this thing of talking about Africa as a place where nothing works will start to stop. I like the aspect you mentioned. We're talking the droughts, that's it, but nobody even talk about the cassava that can grow during droughts and floods. And then we do not also look at what is working in those areas, because these people were born there, they grew up there, and they have survived there. So can we also learn something on how they cope that before we can close the gaps? But sometimes we ignore what works. I want to bring what I call it experimental visions. So your own vision to solve a problem within your locality based on your understanding, and do it your way that fits within the context of the community to address challenges that we see every day. Whatever thing that comes, if it's not adding value, then it's not. Because then we will not be engulfed in this false narrative that for quite a very long time have drained us. Any image we see of Africa is a child dying. Children die in Asia. Children die in Latin America. Children die in the United States. But am I trying to say that we should allow that to happen? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. One calamity cannot be discussed as if the people there are not also trying to do something. So we must talk the positives, of course, the negatives from the perspective of a gap where we prefer solutions to address, because negative narratives drains energy and dissuades. Positive narrative inspires and motivates. And that is the belief that I have. And you hardly see me talking about a problem without a solution to it. And it's just the way I've tried to condition myself to be, and it works. So guys, thank you so much. I don't have anything to say, but just to say that you people are the luckiest generation that have ever existed. Some of us annoy the other speakers and ask every speaker this question. If the person had only to live one day on earth, what will they do to change Africa? Over. Okay, guys, bye-bye. That's just food for thought. Ask everyone that. Yes, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.